Morning from the office. Good morning from the office. This Monday morning, I'm your host, BKP, North Georgia's only live online morning show. And yes, that was the theme, the SWAT. 1975 was a different time in this country, and a bunch of 10-year-old, 11-year-old, 9-year-old boys rolling down the hill of the front yard pretending like they were a member of a SWAT team. Yes, that's what it used to be back in the 70s. Folks, I'm your host, BKP. Good morning from the office, North Georgia's only live online morning show. We have a lot in store for you today. We have 3 hours coming your way. I'll be doing an opening monologue, and I must give you a warning before we start. It's probably going to be my most unpolitically correct morning since I've been doing the show. So be prepared. I just want to warn you ahead of time that I'm going to say some things that are... My hope is to make you think today and get you in the conversation and ask you, what are you going to do? I mean, we're hearing Hillary Clinton and what her comments are, and we're hearing Donald Trump and his comments. Who are you putting your hope in this morning? Two presidential candidates, the president that's currently in the Oval Office, or what are you going to do? And that's the question we're going to talk about in a minute. Okay, we've got a lot going on. I'm going to have Mr. Put the picture up here for me, Lonnie. Mr. Mark Eubank. He will be with me at 9 o'clock. I'll explain a little more what we're going to be talking about. He will be with me at 9 o'clock. And at 8:30 this morning, it'll be Carla's Corner. That'll be at 8:30. Now, here's some of the things we won't have time for this morning. We will try to touch on. The Bilderberg meeting, okay, we won't have time to go into that, but that took place this last weekend. I looked on the guest list and seen Lindsey Graham. I guess somebody had to send an idiot, so the United States of America did. So, okay, there you go. We sent Lindsey Graham was on the guest list for the Bilderberg. Don't have time to go into that. Don't have time to do a whole lot of conversation on the Council of Foreign Relations. But I will tell you this. Here's something that's not on the headlines, folks. Not on any of the headlines at all. And obviously we have something that's moved everything off the headlines. But before the terrorist, the radical Islamic terrorist attack at 2 a.m. Sunday morning, before that took place, nowhere on the headlines are you really looking at the British exit election from the EU. It's just not showing up. It's something they don't want to talk about. Okay, I read an article this morning where the Leave the EU campaign is actually winning now. I think it's almost up to 54% in the polls. And that would be that Great Britain would leave the European Union. There's a lot of repercussions to that, a lot of discussion on that. Now, let's get into this morning. Before we do, I don't want to take away from having a little fun. I'm not going to let the terrorists stop me from having the fun I planned on having this morning. Okay, so let's look at let's look at a couple things. Let's look at a couple things this morning before we get into my opening monologue. Good morning. A couple things on the desk. Okay, first of all, I got my World Series tickets over here, College World Series, somewhere on the front of the desk. I think it was 2008. I went to the College World Series, Georgia, San Fernando State, I think it was, College World Series 2008. So yesterday I'm watching the Super Regionals. The Super Regionals. I love college baseball, folks. I'm watching Super Regionals. The Santa Barbara Gauchos. This is who they are, the Santa Barbara Gauchos. Now, I'm going to play this for you. This guy, Louisville, this guy's throwing 100 miles an hour, folks. 100 miles an hour. This guy's got this is not the temperature outside. Man, was it hot. But anyhow, this guy's throwing 100 mile an hour, this guy from Louisville, this reliever. And he's got a 90 mile an hour changeup, all right? 90 mile an hour. And Santa Barbara Gauchos. There's a Santa Barbara Gauchos, okay, is who they are. They are losing 3-0, bottom of the ninth, bases loaded. Lonnie, play the clip until I tell you to stop it, all right?
swung on and driven high and deep to right field. Out of here. Gauchos are going to Omaha. Can you believe it? Mike Rooney, you and I have witnessed a lot of super regionals in our time. I have never seen a more improbable ending than what we just saw.
It's a freshman pinch hitter, again, with 26 at-bats, facing a closer taken in the first round. Santa Barbara was the third-place team in the Big West, the third-place team. And just an unbelievable job by these kids from, if you see Santa Barbara, to come in here and hang with a team that could have won the national title.
Cohen, a freshman who had one home run all year against the elite closer in college baseball, and he turns on one.
It's a changeup, Mike. It's down and in, right into the sweet spot, and it's time to find a hero. Unbelievable.
The bottom of the lineup. Pinch hitters who have
Okay, that is the Santa Barbara Gauchos. The Gauchos, a freshman pitch hitter, a walk-off home run. A walk-off home run, 4-3, going to the College World Series. Folks, that's America. That's baseball. That's America. That's America. That's America, okay? That is America. That is the America I grew up in, college baseball. Now, I have the tickets here real quick, okay? College World Series is next week. I will be glad to go. So if you would like to buy the tickets, the airfare, and pay for the hotel, just call me and I'll be glad to go, okay? That's it. I'll be glad to go. I am worth airfare, tickets, and a hotel just to be your guest. I will do commentary in the stands for you for free if you want to go to the College World Series. Anyhow, I want to say that. Now, I understand in Omaha, the Gauchos are going to have to wear their home uniforms. You have a picture of their home uniforms? Throw that up. You got that? Yeah, Chico's bail bonds. So when they're away, they could be the Santa Barbara Gauchos. When they go to Omaha, they have to wear their away uniforms, the Chico bail bonds. All right, get that out of here. Too much fun this morning. That's America, folks. Okay, folks, let's get serious here for a couple minutes. All right. You watch the press conference, okay? Press conference. 30 minutes to thank everybody. 30 minutes to thank everybody, okay? That's what we do. You stay tuned for a press conference. And the ATF and the FBI and the mayor and the city police. I told you, don't come here for sensitivity this morning. Don't come here for political correctness, okay? And they thank everybody, and all of the resources are at their disposal. They thank this one. They thank that one. They thank the president for calling and saying all the government's resources are at your disposal. They thank they asked for a declaration of state of emergency. Folks, do you know what that means? Now, for you and I, it used to mean a state of emergency is a state of emergency. I'm not going to say I'm not going to make light of this many more times. I'm just going to go with it. A state of emergency today, when signed, means that an agency is available for funding or there's money can be released for stuff. That's what it means. So that's why they really push to get the state of emergency, so that some more money. That's the big point. More money to be spent on these things. So they're very thankful. So it takes 30 minutes, okay? Now, I like these people. I'm not against these people, but they pretend to be keeping you informed. That's what they continue to do. They come out and they want to pretend to keep you informed, okay? And they want to discuss unity and keep you informed. Now, I'm going to go through some talking points, all right? Obama won't say Islam or Muslim, okay? Hillary won't say Islam or Muslim. Obama's in charge of the campaign, period, okay? Totally in charge of the campaign. You remember the last time talking points were sent out? 4 dead Americans in Benghazi. Okay, Obama comes out yesterday and says, act of terror, also an act of hate. What did Hillary Clinton's statement say yesterday? Act of terror, also an act of hate. All right? Now, these are some of the things that are going on. Trump says it's a Trojan horse. That letting these people into our country is a Trojan horse. We told these people in ISIS, we told them what day we were leaving. Yeah, Obama come out and he said what day we were leaving. He said that. And he said, here's where you can pick up all your trucks, your new trucks. I'm serious. ISIS is running around all through the Middle East, okay? They're running around in new trucks, all kinds of equipment. You're wondering, where are they getting all this military equipment? We provided it, folks. Yes, we provided this equipment. But that being said, okay, they're running around with all this equipment. The president told them when we were leaving, all right? And we have these soft targets. Now, folks, this is not Fallujah, all right? I don't know if you remember this. This is not Fallujah, okay? Orlando's a war zone. This is a war zone, what took place. We are at war. Now, here's the thing. Let's go to Hillary Clinton real quick. For now, these are her comments. For now, we can say for certain that we have to redouble our efforts to defend our country from threats at home and abroad. That means defeating international terror groups, working with allies and partners to go after them wherever they are, countering their attempts to recruit people here and everywhere, and hardening our defense at home. This is what she said. This is what she said. This is her response. She said, the former Secretary of State specifically commented on the attack of an LGBT nightclub during Pride Month. You see, June is LGBT Gay Pride Month, signed a proclamation by the United States, President of the United States, okay? This is what Hillary Clinton said. To the LGBT community, please know that you have millions of allies across the country. Let me tell you an ally you don't have if you're out there and you're in the LGBT community. You do not have a Muslim ally. You understand that? You need to take your coexist bumper sticker. Oh, well, what about the peace-loving Muslims? I'm going to leave that up to you to decide. But I'm going to tell you right now, according to the Muslim religion, okay, in the Quran, they don't love you. If you're in the LGBT community, they don't love you, okay? They gunned you down. 50 of you are dead. 49, counting the gunmen, I guess. 49 are dead, okay? 53 wounded. They are cutting your heads off in other countries. They are executing you all over the Middle East today if you are in the LGBT community or gay anywhere in the world, okay? So you might as well get out there this morning. Now, here's what I want to know. I want you to go up to every one of these people when given the opportunity, these people. I want you to go up to any of these survivors and say, look, I want to ask you a question. Would you authorize, now don't do any liberal test, okay? Would you authorize a certain amount of force or a certain amount of interrogation to find out who did this to prevent this from ever happening again? And I guarantee every one of them will say, okay. So if you go to the hospital and any of the survivors, I'm not being insensitive, it's the bottom line, you say, hey, look, I can find out who did this, and I can make sure it doesn't happen to the LGBT community again, and I can make sure that they don't persecute you again, if you'll just say you're okay with a little waterboarding. Okay? You're okay with me taking a pair, I don't care if you like it or not, you're okay with me taking a pair of vice grips and attaching one to each toe and tightening it up until you decide to tell me what's happening next. Are you okay with that? I guarantee they'll all sign off they're okay with that. You understand? You need to know the engagement that our officers, our FBI, our first responders, the rules of engagement that the President of the United States has worked out with Muslims, they can't do anything. Omar, we're hearing he's been looked at by the FBI. Let me tell you something. You're going to say, well, what if you accidentally go online and you pull up an ISIS website, okay? You know what? If you're out there and you're researching ISIS or you're communicating ISIS, whether you like it or not, we got to detain you right now. We got to detain you for a while. I'm on board with Trump. We got to detain you. We have to talk to you for a while. This stuff, but the rules of engagement. Now, anyhow, let's get back to this. The LGBT community, they do not want to coexist with you people. They do not want to coexist. You know, I'm almost thinking, you know, here's what happened. The Democrats are really, really upset probably this morning because they had everything perfectly laid out. Muhammad Ali's funeral. I mean, this was going to pave the way for the peaceful, loving Muslim. I'm serious, whether you like it or not. I mean, they went political at the funeral Friday, okay? We need to build bridges, not walls. We heard all that, bridges, not walls. So we have paved the way for the peaceful, loving Muslim. That was Muhammad Ali's funeral, okay? Then they were supposed to go in, all the talking points this weekend was supposed to go into all the talking shows that Donald Trump had a bad week and Hillary had a great week. They even tried to start that out. Chuck Todd and them tried to start that out on Meet the Press yesterday, or, all of them tried to start with what a bad week Trump had and a great week Hillary had. All the endorsements she had, President came out, Pocahontas came out, Elizabeth Warren, Joe Biden, the Ali funeral, great week for Hillary Clinton. That was supposed to be the narrative this Sunday morning on all the shows, every one. And I tell you what, this just changed everything, messed up everything they had in place. Now, I'm serious. I think they're going to come out with these little wristbands. You know, what would Muhammad Ali do? You know, what would Ali do at a time like this? All right, she concluded her statement with a call for stricter gun control reform, saying, this is her quote, saying the incident, quote, reminds us once more that weapons of war have no place on our streets. Folks, you cannot have a commander-in-chief that does not understand weapons of war cannot have no place on our streets, that have to understand we are at war. Folks, we are at war, period. We have soft targets, okay? Soft targets. I want to know from you this morning, do you believe that there's a such thing as peaceful, loving Muslims? Now, why did they immediately? Now, yesterday morning, they know it's an act of terror. We don't have time to go into the guy's dad. We will with George. George will be here at 10. We're going to do 3 hours of this. So we know it's an act of terror, okay, and hate. Okay. So this is what they're saying. They're immediately admitting an act of terror, not radical Islamic terror, but we're admitting this immediately. So what do? They go grab an imam. Is that what they call the priest or what? Imam. So they go grab this guy, and he comes up to the microphone. And what is the first thing we're all supposed to understand? All supposed to understand. We're supposed to understand not to overreact. Don't overreact here, okay? Where is the line this morning of imams coming out of the mosque, okay, condemning this? Not saying don't overreact, not saying it's time for all of us to come together and pray, condemning. You don't ever hear condemnation from these people. Never do you hear that. Now I'm going to tell you, Dylan Roof, okay, this is what I heard from one whack job yesterday. Dylan Roof went into a church at South Carolina and shot 9 people dead, if I remember right, okay? Let me tell you something. When there's an act of terror, and not that it's connected to the Christian community, But when there's a concern that it happened around a church or something Christianity, whatever, immediately the floodgates open of ministers, priests, rabbis, whatever, around the country condemning this, calling that, just majorly coming out against this, okay? Never in the Muslim community, never. I would like for you to send me an email or a link to somewhere where it's actually a major condemnation. Don't go with the light side of what they say, little things, okay? A major they will not condemn this. The president won't condemn this, okay? Imams will not condemn this. Muslims will not. We can't overreact, okay? We immediately have politicians come out and talk about millions and millions, okay? Now, when they come out and they do the press conference, all right, they stay out there for 30 minutes. They talk about how proud they are of their community. They give the list of heroes. We will not let this define us, okay? And they declare a state of emergency. But I love when they stand out there and they tell you over and over, they will not let this define us. Our community is strong. Really? Really? Our community is strong. We will not let this define us. The president says don't stop living. This is translated, folks, into it never happened. Their goal is to translate this into it did not happen. Now, I know what you're thinking out there. Wait a minute, I got to explain this. We know it happened. They know it happened. But their comments are translated. Don't stop living. Don't stop living. What are you going to do? Okay? Should Obama resign? Should Obama resign? I mean, he comes out and he says, Trump comes out and says Obama should resign. Should he? Okay. People, you promise to defend the Constitution against enemies, foreign and domestic. All right? You promise to do that. All right? I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, and I take this obligation freely without any blah, blah, blah. You have agreed to defend us as part of your oath, as part of the office. You have agreed to defend us in the Constitution against all enemies. They will not defend us against these enemies. So I'm going to ask you this morning, should Obama resign? I mean, I think the guy should resign. I think he should resign today. I think we should actually have our government act as though the founding fathers intended. So I think what you should do is you should call every one of your congressmen. And what you should do is you should go to your email list. You should go to your email list and you should send out a major email with every congressman and senator's phone number. And you should say, hey, our Constitution demands. You took an oath that demands that you uphold the Constitution. You took an oath that demands that you will defend us against domestic and foreign enemies. What are you going to do? See, don't wait for Donald Trump to get elected. Now, I support Donald Trump and I support the Republican nominee, but don't wait for Donald Trump to get elected, folks. Don't wait for Hillary Clinton and what her comments are. Don't put your hopes in these people, okay, and wait for January 21st. Don't wait for that. Don't wait for any more soft targets. What are you going to do today as Americans? What are you going to do? Are you going to make the phone calls, send the emails? Demand it. Don't ask. Demand that the Constitution be adhered to, that they took an oath for. And if President Obama does not want to defend this country, then he needs to resign. See, that sounds, some people says that sounds ludicrous. That just sounds way out there. No, there's a reason why. There's an option for resignation in all that you do. Anybody can resign on any given day. I mean, you could do that. What are you going to do? Let me ask let's see. You know, it was more important, folks, and you want to know why would you ask for somebody to resign over this? It was more important for the President of the United States, the President of the United States, to instruct the Justice Department to investigate and follow up on Ferguson. It was more important for the President of the United States to use our Justice Department to follow up on the Baltimore police, was it Freddie Gray, the death of Freddie Gray. It was more important for our Department of Justice to do that, to go after police officers. It was more important to define the problem as our police officers, to define the problem as our law enforcement. It was more important to do that than to defend you and keep you and your family safe. Now, I'm telling you, Omar, and you have all the details, they're coming out and giving them to you. Omar and his father, radical Islamic terrorist, okay? They're not going to stop. We have the floodgates open. I know what you're going to say. Well, he was 29. He was a citizen. He was born here. We have floodgates open. Okay, I think if you look at where he has traveled to and traveled back from, you look at the family, their travels, whatever. Okay, Omar walks into a gay club and opens fire on these people. Okay, opens fire. We need to stop it and return the America back, not take it back. See, people say, well, the code word for what Trump wants to do is take the country backward. No, we do not want to take the country backward. We enjoy our technology. We enjoy being able to watch things on demand. We enjoy the things that we do with technology and where things are at today, as far as many things that we're able to have, the comforts that we do, okay? But what we want to do is take the country back. Now, I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to just throw this out here before I go to break. I'm your host, BKP. Now, I was in grade school. I was in grade school with about 28 kids. We're going to go to first grade, all the way back to the first grade, okay? I think it was 28 kids in my first grade class. All right? And I guess 60% were white. Okay. 4 or 5, about 10 kids, or I don't know, I'm not doing my math, so I don't do the numbers. 10 kids were black. At that time, I don't remember any Latinos in the class, and you're going to tell you, but I remember several of my classmates were Jewish. Several were Jewish. Okay, several of my classmates. Several were black, white, Catholic, Protestant, you name it. I don't remember having any Muslims in grade school. I don't remember it. I don't remember it. Really, I don't. Okay? Now, we've opened the floodgates, and I don't know how you are, but I'm going to tell you something. They can't live with you and accept you for who you are. They cannot. It's not in their religion, folks. You see, let me say something to the LGBT community. You spent way too much time fighting Christians. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Stay with me. You spent way too much time. If a Christian cake baker does not want to bake your cake, leave them alone. Don't ask them to bake your cake. If a minister does not want to perform your wedding, leave them alone. They do not want to perform your wedding. If a church says we do not want members that are not that do not adhere to, marriage being between a man, leave them alone. Leave them alone. If a lady walks up to a window and says, this is against my belief, and I don't want to issue you a marriage license, leave them alone. LGBT, leave them alone. Because let me tell you what they don't want to do. They don't want to kill you. I promise you, every cake baker out there that doesn't want to bake your cake, that nicely says, I'd prefer not to be involved, the next move is not to shoot you. Okay? For every church that says, hey, that's not what we believe in. We believe in what we call traditional marriage. Hey, let me tell you what. The next thing they do, they don't want to shoot you. You understand? They say, hey, we think, a men's room's a men's room and a ladies' room's a ladies' room, and we would like for you to go into the bathroom of your biological gender on your birth certificate. Guess what the next move is? They don't want to shoot you. They do not want to kill you. They don't. Well, you're going to say, well, I have not seen the gay bashing for years. Yes, I understand that has taken place. And I don't think we should harm people, hurt people, or do anything to people. I don't think we should. But the LGBT community, every time a state wants to pass a religious liberty bill to give you your rights and the state have their rights and everybody have their rights or whatever, getting a little confused here, but religious liberty bill, every time you fight that, the end result is not to kill you. But I have to tell you, the Muslim religion, the Islamic faith says you must die. You need to wake up. That's what it says. You must die. Christianity says nowhere that you must die. It does not. We're not telling you must die. The Islamic faith says you must die, and they're not going to stop. They do not want to live with you. Liberals have this wrong. They have it totally wrong. I'm your host, BKP. Good morning from the office, North Georgia's only live online morning show. Hey, we'll be right back after these messages, okay? We will be right back after this messages with Carla's Corner. Lonnie, take us to break.